Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hold On to Them podcast. I am your host, Erin, and today I have a special guest. Her name is Kristen Gingrich. She is a licensed social worker, and she is the co-host of a podcast called Welcome to Group Therapy. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late.
Oh, that's okay.
My client ran over.
Oh, no problem at all. Thank
I'm
you
like,
for taking the time out. I
of
know it's like such
course.
a busy holiday season right now.
It's crazy. I will 0 out of 10 ever recommend having a child near Christmas. His birthday is 3 days after, and it is the worst.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
The
that's
worst.
rough.
The worst.
How old is it
He's gonna be he's gonna be 7.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you
So
just have one son?
just one, thank God.
Okay.
Thank God. Props to anybody who has more than one, because my sister-in-law has 3, and I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I just recently came across, well, I think you've been following my Instagram and I just recently noticed that. So I followed you back and I was like, "Oh my God, you
Yeah.
seem amazing and I love everything you're doing and you have a podcast too." So that's so
Yes.
cool.
Because you guys partner with AFSP, correct?
Yes.
Yes, that's how I found you.
Oh, okay.
Because I have partnered with them in the past. I think honestly, like when I went to their leadership meeting is when I really came across you, and then like I've just partnered with them in the past. I've done their overnight walk and all of that. So
Oh, cool. Yeah. I've been doing their walks since 2015, so almost 10 years now.
nice. Where are you at?
So I'm in New Jersey. I used to be in Massachusetts.
Oh, a mass hole at her heart.
Yeah. I
I'm
went
in
to
Maine.
college in, oh, okay. I went to college in New Hampshire. I actually applied for college in Maine, but it was like 6 hours away from where my mom's house was, and it
Yeah.
was cold. So I was like, no, thank you.
Where are you at in Jersey?
I'm right outside of Philly.
I'm born and raised Pennsylvania, which is hilarious.
Oh, cool.
There's like some like pieces here that are hilarious. Yes. So born
I
and
love
raised in
that.
Pennsylvania, moved to Maine.
Awesome. What brought you to Maine?
Love. My husband's whole family is from here, and like I was graduating college while he was getting out of the Marine Corps, and I was like, get me out of this state. And so I made the stupid decision to move to Maine
Yeah.
because I thought that that was the better decision. And now I'm stuck here and through 9 months of winter.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so cold all the
Yeah.
time.
All the time. It's actually today was 40, and we were
Oh,
like,
wow.
today was
That's
40, and I
nice.
was like, we're going for a run. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, that's warm for
Yeah.
Maine.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. It was 50 like 3 days ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like a heat wave.
Yeah. It was like, what? So
Uh,
yeah.
So this episode will air either the end of January or beginning of February. So I definitely want to focus on like how, well, I know the holidays sometimes people are grieving, but it's
Mhm.
also a time surrounded by like friends and family and it's positive and things to look forward to. And then once it's over, it's like the whole month of January, there's like nothing to look
Oh,
forward to. So
there's nothing.
yeah, so focusing on like how to stay positive during that time and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Um, and I also want to hear about your podcast, your group therapy podcast.
Yeah.
And
It's
you've been on
amazing.
that for 2 years now?
We have been doing that. Yeah. It was 2 years in October. We've been doing it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's crazy. We love it. It's 4 of us. It can be a vibe. Sometimes it's 4 of us. Sometimes it's 2 of us. Sometimes it's 3 of us. It just depends who can make it that week.
Yeah,
But it's super fun. We love it. It's a way for us to connect. Um, and we're also very different. And so we all come into the conversation bringing something completely different. And that's what I love about it the most.
that's awesome. And how did you guys meet each other? Or if you're not, well, I guess meet, like, I don't know if you've met in person before or if it was virtual.
Yes. So it ended up being like we all had kind of known each other through social media. Like that's really how we met. And the podcast was born out of a Snapchat group chat. Because three of us, so the three girls were together on a trip, and um Justin, we were on like we added into this group chat because he was like, "Oh my God, you guys are all together. It looks like so much fun." And then it just kind of like he would send us hilarious photos or videos. We would all just like engage in conversation, and then it was just born out of that. We've been able to get all together once,
Oh,
which was
wow.
really nice. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's really hard to navigate getting together when some people have kids and different obligations. But yeah, no, we've been able to get together, which was really fun.
Oh, that's awesome. How long have you been a social worker and what made you want to go into that field?
So I have been a social worker. So I graduated my master's program in 2015. So since then, I graduated in December of 2015. So I've been in the field since then. I've worked in community mental health, severe and persistent mental illness and substance use for most of that. It's just been relatively in the last year and a half where I've stepped out of that and into working with foster parents. Um, what really got me into the field, like what got me into mental health, like specifically, was I had a friend die by suicide when we were in high school, and I was really shaken up about that and really kind of like, I need to know more about this, and I really don't I want to be able to provide support for people who feel like there is no other option other
Mhm.
than that. And then it kind of led into, so I got my bachelor's in psychology, and then I was like, I don't really know what I want to do, but I think I'm going to go into social work because I felt like that really aligned with my values and my beliefs. And we kind of went from there. And I've been in the field for now. That's crazy to think that like I'm going in, like it's my ninth year.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy to me.
Time goes by so fast.
Yeah. I'm
It's
like, what? What do you mean?
well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And congratulations on almost a decade of work.
Oh, when you say it out loud like that, I'm like, oh, oh. Because it also doesn't feel like that. I'm like, 10 years? I still feel like I know nothing. Like, what do you mean 10 years? Um, but yeah, no, it's amazing. I've loved the work, all the work that I've done over the years and all the different things I've done. Um, and also how it's given me an opportunity to create even a platform. So
Yeah. And you have a lot of followers, over 200,000. That's
yeah,
amazing.
on Instagram, yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a wild ride, that's for sure.
When you specifically are going through a difficult time, what is something you like to do to help yourself get through it?
Yeah, so it really, I think sometimes those things depend on how hard of a time it is. One of the big things that I've really had to learn for myself over the last several years is that I have to use the people around me. That I could suffer in silence, and that could be my choice. Um, but also I have so many people in my life that are more than willing just to listen to me, and relying on the people that care about me to give me support or ask for it. They don't know that I need support if I don't ask for it.
Hmm.
Um, and that has been a huge thing for me because, for a very long time in my life, I suffered alone. I wouldn't let anybody help me. I wouldn't rely on anybody because that was just who I was.
Hmm.
Um, and I realized that that wasn't helping me in any capacity. Um, and so like when I'm particularly going through a rough time, I will tend to fall on those people. But also for me specifically, when I fall into a rough time, all of my stuff that I normally do goes straight out the window. So I try to falling back on my daily routine, with grace, with knowing that I'm not going through a rougher time and giving myself that grace in that, but like making sure I am moving my body, making sure I am eating, make sure I am taking care of myself. Even if it's just the bare minimum, because sometimes when we feel like crap and then we do things like, not take a shower or not take care of our physical health or we're not eating, the not doing those things also make us feel even more like that. And so sometimes it's just all I got in it today is just to make sure I'm eating my meals. That's all I got today. Or today, all I got in it is just to like get in the shower and wash my hair. I can't blow dry it, but I can at least wash it today.
Hmm. That's good and relatable. For me, um, staying in a routine definitely is
Mhm.
something that helps. It takes my mind off of things. Like when I'm feeling depressed or upset, all I want to do is just sit at home and not talk to anybody. But then it's like, okay,
Absolutely.
I have to go to work. And then there's people there. So then I'm like, okay, this feels so much better.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that connection with other people can be exhausting, but
Hmm.
it's also proven to help us when we feel connected with other people. We are humans. We are built for connection in some capacity. Whether it's you're even if you're an introvert, there is some version of connection that our humanness craves. It may not be like in a room full of 20 people, but there is that connection, and sometimes it's getting past that hump. So like you said, like I don't want to do it, but then I start doing it and I'm like, oh, I actually feel better. Mm,
Yep.
darn. And sometimes it's that hump. It's that hump that we have to get over.
Yeah.
And that motivation, it's called behavioral activation. It's doing things when we don't want to do it, and then suddenly it snowballs, and you're like, oh yeah, that felt great. Oh,
Hmm.
that actually helped me. Cool. I didn't want to do it, but I'm glad I did it. Um, I think that that's something that is really hard for a lot of people is to get over that hump and to get that slight motivation.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, because I feel like the hardest thing is to get up because you're like climbing a hill, basically. So to get up it is the hardest part. But then once
Mhm.
you're there,
Yeah,
it, yeah.
absolutely. Well, and it's sometimes getting out of our own way is so hard. I wish it wasn't so hard to get out of our own way because we could think of a million excuses or a million reasons or a million ideas as to why I shouldn't do this
Hmm.
because our brain wants us to stay where we are. But if we can just find one moment of motivation to do whatever it may be, and that can be so helpful for our mental health in those moments.
Hmm. Okay, so for people that are feeling sad after the holidays are
Mm.
passing, what is advice that you would give to them to help them through the winter blues, I guess is the best way, because there's less sunlight, there's less
Uh-huh.
socialization
Hmm.
after being maybe bombarded around the holidays.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, you know, the holidays is one thing after another. It's one party or it's one thing or you're out shopping or all of this, and then suddenly January hits and there's nothing. I think that it's important that we still are making those plans. And it doesn't have to be something where you're spending money. It could be like I want a friend to come over and we just watch a movie. Or oh, I need to make sure to FaceTime those people. Or maybe I'm just going to get out and go for a walk. Maybe I'm going to sit by the window. My office is set up in a way where I stare at the window because if I didn't, I would never see daylight because I live in Maine and the sun sets at 4 o'clock. Like I need to see some form of daylight.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes it's getting creative, but I think that, the winter is hard because for many people it's cold. There's not as much to do. But sometimes it's about getting creative and finding something to do. Even just something around your house.
Yeah. Something like a simple task. I know something that helps my anxiety specifically if I'm like focusing on that is I don't even have to leave my house, but if I go and do something like clean up my kitchen or do my laundry, it like
Mhm.
helps take my mind off of the sadness I feel. And even if it's just for a little while, but then sometimes that helps motivate to do something else. Like,
Mhm.
okay, I just did that. Now I feel motivated to go grocery shop, or I feel
Yeah.
motivated to go see a friend
Yeah.
or do something I've been putting off. So, yeah, kind of like that snowball effect that you were
Yeah.
talking about.
Well, and that's too, like one of the things you said about grocery shopping. Like that's something that most of us have to do. Can you grocery shop with a friend? Y'all just bebop around with your carts. You're
Yeah.
like it doesn't sound fun, but you're still doing it with a friend. Like you could still
Yeah.
chat while you're looking at the bananas trying to figure out which one you want. It might take, normally shopping by yourself takes 20 minutes, but with a friend it takes 2 hours. Like I'll take the 2-hour shopping trip if that means that I get to catch up with a friend.
Yeah.
Um, and so sometimes it's just getting creative in that aspect too.
Kind of off topic, but so this podcast is about mental health, but it's also about music because I've
Hmm.
hosted two benefit concerts. And the whole reason behind that was because one of my favorite places to be was a concert where I'm
Hmm.
connected, and music is one of my favorite things.
Hmm.
So having a night where your mind is shifted off of the worries or troubles or anything that's on your mind that's giving you stress or anxiety, and just a night of happiness.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite music to listen to? And what is
That's
your favorite artist and your favorite
Oh, that's such
song?
a loaded. I feel like it depends on my mood. I mean, my Spotify Wrapped will tell you Taylor Swift. It's so funny because I got it and I was like, yeah, this makes sense. It was Taylor Swift, Noah Khan, and I would say that those are the two people that I listen to the most. And then I have like a 2008 emo playlist
Oh,
that
I
I
love
listen to
that.
relatively, but it was so funny because it was like Taylor Swift, Noah Khan, and then it was Eminem. And the only reason I can explain why Eminem is on that is because a couple of his songs are on my iPod Shuffle playlist, and because I listened to his new album twice. That if that doesn't put in perspective how much I listen to Taylor Swift and Noah Khan,
Wow.
like that was my third. I'm pretty because I listened to the Tortured Poets Department. I listened to it on like every run that I was on.
Yeah.
Like, but I do listen to like I will say on my like iPod Shuffle and things like that. I do have a variety of music. Like I grew up like on 2008 emo music, but I also grew up on dad rock. Um, so there's also that. Um, but yeah, I would probably say Taylor Swift and Noah Khan would probably be my go-to. Like this morning I ran to Stick Season.
Love that. And do you have a favorite song currently?
I don't know currently. I will say that my favorite question to ask people is if you could forget a song and listen to one song for the first time again. You could forget it and listen to it for the first time again. What song would that be? And for me, it always has been, If It Means a Lot to You by A Day to Remember.
Oh, wow. I don't
Hmm.
know if I've ever heard that. I'm gonna,
It's a good one. But it's one of my favorite questions because it makes you think like, will you go with something nostalgic? Will you go with something that you really relate to? Will you go with something that is lyrical? I
yeah,
always love hearing like what people's songs are.
that might be my new favorite question to ask people. Because on my podcast guests, I always ask them what their favorite song is, but I like that question. That makes you think a little bit more.
Yeah. Because I find that everybody comes at it from a different angle.
Yeah.
Because I've had people who have picked a song that has only come out in the last 2 years. And then I have people who pick songs that because it has a memory associated with it.
Hmm.
Um, and so I love it because I just love people's responses to it because I always just get a variety. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's about everything I wanted to touch on. Is there anything you wanted to share or say?
um I think like as you know, this episode is airing in the midwinter. And if you are one of those people who are living in those states that are cold and dreary and you're really struggling, like really figure out what is something that I could do today. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be a financial burden. Sometimes it's just I need to put on my big old puffy jacket and I need to put on a scarf and some gloves and I just need to go for a walk because I need to change my scenery. I think that that is something too that we forget is like through the winter we are inside so much more and we're the same four walls. And sometimes we just need to change that scenery, even just for a moment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
I definitely want to know what your song is, though.
Oh, jeez. Hmm.
It's a hard one. Cause like it's
It
like what
is.
one song would I forget and want to listen to it again?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is probably Matt Nathanson's song because I saw him open for Lifehouse in
Mm,
2008 and he was just the opening act and I hardly ever really pay attention to
yeah.
opening acts because I'm like disinterested and I'm like I just want the main thing.
Yeah.
But then I don't know at what point of his set I was like, "Oh my gosh, wait, this is amazing. I literally love every single song." I went and
Hmm.
bought his album afterwards and I've
Mm.
been like a number one fan ever since. So I think but I'm not sure which song was first, but I feel like whatever the first song was of that set, which I could probably find online actually,
Yeah.
I feel like that would be the song.
I
So
love
I'm
it.
gonna find out what song that was and
Yeah.
then
It's just it's such an interesting question because I couldn't tell you. I just like for it means for the if it means a lot to you, it's just like it's also specifically like the bridge. Like the bridge, I don't know what about it. It just like hits me in my chest. And when I saw them in 2022 at when we were young and it was the first time I heard the song
oh,
live.
oh, that's
And
amazing.
I bawled like a baby in the crowd. And like even I saw it again this year. So I was at when we were young this year,
Hmm.
and I didn't bawl, but it's the same reaction. Like it just something in my chest is activated by it.
Yeah.
And it's just so good. I would say my second runner up. Do you listen to Noah Khan?
Not really. I've
Okay.
heard Stick Season before, but
Yeah.
I'm not like
So
an avid
I would say my second runner up is Call Your Mom by Noah Khan.
call your mom.
Yeah, that one is
I'm
a
gonna
good one.
listen to
And I
those.
also like tell me what that song is because I like to listen to people's songs.
Okay, I will. I'll email it to you when I
Yeah. But
find out what it
it's
was.
definitely my favorite. It's definitely my favorite question because it kind of catches people off guard.
Yeah, you have to think about it. You can't just answer it
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
It's a lot of thought that you have to put into it.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's what you're reasoning. Like
Hmm.
what is it? Is there a story behind it? Is it nostalgic? Is there a memory? Like what is connected to that? And so
Hmm.
I that's what I like about it. So
Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
And with your permission, I would love to start asking my guests that if
Yeah,
that's
I
okay.
love it. It's one of my yeah, it's I have a lot of people who start who ask. It's like my favorite party question.
I love it.
Because I also like I just hate regular icebreakers. And so like it's just a different icebreaker question.
Yeah, it's more meaningful than like, oh, what do you do for work?
Yeah.
And
Give me two truths and a lie. So, but yeah, like that's one of my favorites. So, but yeah, definitely start using that if that's something that you think about and I love it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm so excited to ask that. I'm probably gonna ask all my friends now too. Like I
Yeah,
just
it's literally it's so much fun because I feel like it also tells me a lot about a person.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you
Awesome.
so
Well, thank
much.
you for your time.
Thank you for
Of
yours.
course.
All right, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. Our website is holdontilldawn.com and our email is holdontilldawn@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at holdontilldawn and on Facebook at Hold On Till Dawn Benefit Concert. See you next time.